In the previous lecture, I tried to explain what is action research and why action researches are to be conducted by the teacher or the practitioners. In this portion of the action research, I will be explaining the importance of action research. Second point is why does not everyone do action research, and the third is the limitations of action research. These are the 3 points which I will be focusing in this particular program. Now, let us try to understand that the importance of action research, that action research deals with teachers' problems, but not someone else's problems. See, I am the teacher, I am teaching physics, I might be facing some problem with respect to some of the aspects of physics which students do not understand. Then as a teacher, I have to think of different methods to be used to explain that portion of the topic which students do not understand. So, therefore, it is very much related to the teacher's problem. The next is that action research is very timely, that it can start now and whenever one is ready and provides immediate results. For action research, one has not to wait, one can start whenever one finds a problem and the solution is not there at all. So, he has to find the solution. As I have already explained that in action research, once a solution is obtained, this particular solution may not work in another situation. So, when there is a problem, there has to be a solution, and it is a unique solution which can be applied, which can be used to solve problem in that particular situation. The next is that action research provides educators with opportunities to better understand and therefore improve their educational practices. Now, everywhere people talk that today's education is irrelevant. The students coming out of the classrooms do not have the understanding of the subject. Some of the abilities do not get developed during the process of their education. Now, normally a student stays in a school for 12 years. If you add 2 years of their preparatories, then it is 14 years. Now, in these 14 years certain abilities must be developed, but they do not get developed. So, therefore, the teacher educators or the educators are interested in finding the solutions of such type of problems. Another is that as a process, action research can also promote building of stronger relationship among colleagues with whom teachers work. I have already said that in action research, the teacher himself is doing some activity, but in this one he can take the help of any one of his colleagues, and in reality if he feels that he should involve the colleagues and both simultaneously do something or teach a particular topic, which can be better understood by the students. So, it requires collaboration. So, it is collaborative teaching, a collaborative research, and he can take the help of anyone. The colleague does not mean that a teacher teaching in the same school or in the same college. Colleagues are those who are the teachers. They may be teaching in other colleges or they may be teaching in other schools. So, therefore, the teacher can take the help of anyone he likes or she likes. Next is that action research provides educators with alternative ways of viewing and approaching educational questions and problems, with new ways of examining on educational practices. See, it is important, as I have said earlier also, that you have a problem. This particular problem may have multiple solutions, but in a particular situation you will be using one solution and try to find out whether this solution helps the teacher in solving that problem which is related to the teaching, or which is related to the evaluation, or which is related to any other aspect of the process of teaching. So, that is to be done, and in this one teacher educators can play a important role. Another is, why does not everyone do action research? There are different reasons. One of the reason is that action research is still relatively unknown as compared to more traditional form of conducting research. Now, you know that researches are conducted at different stages. In some of the disciplines, the teachers, they ask student to conduct research at master's level. At that point of time, the main focus is to give training to the students as how to conduct a research, as it is a systematic one. Now, people also do research at doctoral level. Some of the people, they do research at project level by getting funds from different agencies. So, the more concerned, the more focus has been in the traditional way of doing research. Not many people do conduct action researches, and at different places even the training in the conduct of action research is not given. Most of the people, they try to train people in conducting the research. Second is that action research is more difficult to conduct than traditional researches. This is because that in traditional approach to the research, the people know the steps, the details are available. Majority of the books written by different authors explain the traditional approaches to the research. There are very few writers who write about how to conduct action research. Even in their writing, there are lot of differences. Some of the writers, they explain the steps of research in a particular sequence. The other people do not agree with those steps and they give their own steps, whereas this is not the case with the traditional approaches to the research. So, that means action research is not too much structured, rather it is unstructured in nature, but it has to be a structured one. Another is that action research does not conform with many of the requirements of conventional research with which one may be familiar. Yes, as I have just now said that the traditional way of conducting research has got well defined steps arranged in some sequence. This is not as far as action research is concerned, but action research should also have some of the steps arranged in a particular sequence, but there may be some steps of the traditional or conventional research may not really fit. That can happen. Otherwise, the action research will also have the steps arranged in a particular sequence, but whatever the literature says, some of the literature they do say that action research is systematic in nature and there are steps which are to be followed in that particular sequence, but some do not agree with this particular thing. Now, another is that action research is less structured and more difficult to conduct. Yes, because the people, those who conduct action research, most of them are teachers, and some of these teachers might not have been trained in conducting research, specifically the action research. So, therefore, they will be following the steps as they understand it, and hence it may look like to be less structured, but in reality there are steps which one can follow in conducting the research, and therefore, it will not be too difficult. Difficult in the sense that the teacher has to find out time, the teacher has to get all facilities of conducting the research in their own environment, and sometimes it is not very easy, because the teacher's mandate is to cover the course in the prescribed time, but action research helps the people, helps the teachers in thinking about the new ways of teaching, and that they can only do if they conduct action research. Another is that because of the lack of fit between structured research requirements and the process of conducting action research, one may find it more difficult to write up the results. Yes, in the traditional research it is very structured. So, therefore, there are well structured chapters or the sequence in which the information is to be given, and one has to give that information in that particular sequence. All researchers, they know that their chapter 1 is this, and in that they have to give this information, but in action research, in reality such type of structure exists according to some of the authors, whereas it is not so according to some of the authors, and the reason may be one, that the teachers are not well trained in conducting the research and further in writing the outcomes of the research which they have conducted. Another is the limitations of the action research. Even the conventional research also has lot of limitations, and that is why some of the time people say that these days the quality of research is low. So, that low might be because of some constraints or because of some limitations. Now, the limitations of action research, one is lack of time, because this has to be conducted by the teachers in their classrooms. So, therefore, there is a lack of time. The teacher sometimes find it difficult, as they have to complete the content in the prescribed time. Another limitation is validity as research. Some of the experts do not consider action research as a research. So, therefore, when they conduct action research, some of the people think, no, this is not action research. As earlier I have said, some people are of the view that it is not well structured. So, that is the another limitation. The third limitation is unfamiliarity with research methods. People may not be really well trained in the research methods, though they may not be familiar with different research methods available. Those people who conduct other researches, they are well trained. So, they are familiar with the different methods of the research. But since action research is conducted by the teachers who might be either graduate or post graduates, and during their graduation and post graduation they might not have been trained in conducting research, and therefore, they may not be aware about different research methods. So, due to this limitation, sometime the action research quality may not be as it is desired. Another limitation is that action research produces results which are not generalizable. This is very simple. I have told you that the action research relates to a specific situation. Because of this particular situation, whatever the results a teacher obtains, a teacher gets, these cannot be generalized, because generalizability requires that whatever the sample that you take, this particular sample should represent the population. Since in action research a particular class may differ from another class of another school, sometime even a class 9th A may be very different from class 9th B of the same school. The students are different, the teachers may be the same, but because of this particular situation, therefore, whatever the problem of class 9th A is there, if there is a same problem in class 9th B, the solution of class 9th A may not be applicable to class 9th B for solving the same problem. So, therefore, the utility of action research is too narrow. So, from action research no generalizability can be done. This is very important. Another limitation is that representations of the process of action research may confuse rather than enlighten. This is important, that as I have said, that process of action research if it is systematic, then there is little scope of confusion. But since action research process does not involve well defined steps arranged in a particular order many a times. So, that is why there is likely to be some problem. So, what one should do is one should try level best to go in a particular situation, so that the reader can understand. And when one writes the action research report, he should or she should write it in so systematically that another teacher, if reads, can understand. Another teacher may not use it as it is, but he may get some hint. Another is that the rhetoric of action research may be confusing or in contradiction with the main principles of process. This is another important point, and it is because the action research sometimes is not systematic. Different people try to do it differently. So, it is the outcome of that. Thus, in this particular part, I tried to explain the importance of action research, and another point I covered was why everyone does not do action research and what are the different limitations of action research. In the next program or next lecture, I will be talking about the different steps which one can follow in conducting action research.